Hello, my dear friends. In the early hours of morning, long before the city outside fully wakes, life begins quietly inside the palace harem. The harem is not a place of constant luxury as many imagine. It is a carefully ordered world with rules, routines, and strict control. A concubine does not wake to freedom. She wakes to duty. Her day begins with washing and dressing in simple clothing chosen according to rank. Everything she wears and every movement she makes is shaped by palace custom. The harem is a closed space guarded and watched. It is not only a living place but also a school. Most concubines are young women taken from distant regions of the empire. They are brought into the palace and trained to live according to court manners. From the first days, they are taught the Ottoman language, polite speech, and respectful behavior. A concubine must learn how to walk slowly, how to lower her eyes, and how to remain silent unless spoken to. These lessons are repeated daily until they become habit. After morning prayers, the women gather for instruction. Some learn music, others sewing or embroidery. A few are trained in reading and writing. These lessons are not for personal growth alone. They are meant to prepare the women for service inside the palace. Skill shows discipline. Discipline shows worth. A woman who learns quickly may rise in rank. A woman who fails may be sent to harder work. Meals are simple and shared. Food is prepared by kitchen staff and delivered in quiet order. There is no loud talking. The harem is a place of calm movement and careful sound. Each woman eats knowing she is being observed, not always directly, but through the system itself. Older women, servants, and supervisors watch behavior and report it. Reputation grows from daily conduct. Much of the day is spent waiting to be called for work, waiting for lessons to end, waiting for news from outside the walls. The palace is large, but the harem is closed. The women do not walk freely through the city. Their world is made of corridors, courtyards, and rooms filled with other women. News of the empire comes through servants and whispers. Not every concubine will ever be noticed by the ruler. Many will spend their lives in service roles. They clean, prepare clothing, and assist higher-ranked women. Their value is not only in beauty, but in obedience and skill. The harem is a place of hierarchy. At the top stand the most favored women. Below them are many layers of rank, each with different duties and privileges. Afternoons are quieter. Light falls through high windows. Some women sew while others recite poetry they have memorized. Silence is part of training. Loud laughter is discouraged. A concubine must learn to control her face and voice. Emotion is hidden behind calm expression. This is not because feelings do not exist, but because showing them can be dangerous. The harem is also a place of fear. A mistake can mean punishment or removal. A woman might be sent away from the palace if she breaks rules or loses favor. Some are married off to officials. Others disappear into service roles outside the inner court. Life inside the harem is never secure. It depends on health, behavior, and the shifting moods of power. As evening approaches, lamps are lit and shadows grow long along tiled floors. Some women are called to attend higher-ranked ladies. Others return to their rooms. The night is quiet but full of thought. Many remember their homes far away. They think of family they may never see again. Their lives are shaped by a system they did not choose. This is not a world of constant luxury. It is a world of order and control. It is a place where daily life is ruled by routine, silence, and waiting. A concubine's day is not filled with drama. It is filled with learning how to survive inside walls of marble and rule. And as the palace grows still, the women lie down in shared rooms, knowing that tomorrow will follow the same rhythm, the same lessons, the same quiet steps, the same careful watching. As the morning hours pass, the harem settles into its steady rhythm. The women move through their tasks in lines and small groups, guided by older attendants who have spent many years inside the palace walls. These senior women understand the rules better than anyone else. They know which halls may be used, which doors must never be touched, and which hours belong to silence. A concubine learns quickly that the palace is not only a building, but a system of invisible borders. Crossing the wrong space at the wrong time can bring punishment. Training continues through the late morning. Young women practice music on soft instruments, their notes echoing gently through tiled rooms. Others sit with needles and thread, learning to make fine patterns in cloth. These skills are not only for beauty, they are signs of patience and obedience. A woman who works calmly is praised. A woman who grows restless is corrected. In this way, character is shaped slowly, day by day. Language lessons are also part of life. Many concubines come from lands far from the capital. They arrive speaking different tongues. Inside the harem, they must learn the language of the court. Words are important. A wrong phrase can sound disrespectful. A careless tone can be taken as pride. So speech is practiced carefully, like a form of dance. Girls repeat phrases until their voices sound smooth and controlled. Silence is safer than error. The presence of rank is felt everywhere. Some women walk with confidence, knowing they belong to higher levels of the harem. Others keep their heads lowered, aware of their lower place. Rank decides clothing, food portions, and sleeping areas. A concubine does not rise by strength or by chance. She rises by long patience, careful behavior, and the favor of those above her. Favor is rare and unpredictable. This makes every day uncertain. During midday, the harem rests. Curtains are drawn to block the strong sun. The women sit or lie quietly, conserving energy. This pause is not true freedom. It is another part of order. Noise is discouraged. Movement is slow. The palace breathes in stillness. In this quiet time, thoughts become loud. Many women remember their childhood homes. They remember fields, rivers, and streets they will never see again. The harem is full of people, yet loneliness lives inside it. Older women tell stories in low voices. These stories are warnings and lessons. They speak of those who rose high and those who fell quickly. They speak of beauty that faded and health that failed. Through these stories, younger concubines learn what to hope for and what to fear. The lesson is always the same. Do not draw attention. Do not make enemies. Do not forget your place. When the afternoon returns, work begins again. Some women are sent to clean chambers or prepare clothing for higher-ranked ladies. Others carry trays of food or water. Their steps are soft. Their eyes remain low. A concubine learns to move like part of the building itself, present but unnoticed. To be seen too much can be dangerous. To be ignored can also be dangerous. Balance is everything. Occasionally, a woman is chosen to serve closer to the inner chambers of the palace. This is seen as both honor and risk. Closer service means closer watch. It means greater chance of favor, but also greater chance of mistake. The walls near the ruler's quarters feel heavier with meaning. Silence is deeper there. The air itself seems to listen. Friendships grow slowly in such a world. Trust is difficult. Everyone lives under the same rules, but not everyone has the same future. Some women become close, sharing food and whispered memories. Others keep distance, afraid of rivalry. The harem is a place where kindness and caution exist side by side. A smile can be comfort. It can also be mask. As evening approaches, preparations begin once more. Hair is arranged, clothes are checked, lamps are lit along the corridors. The palace becomes a world of soft light and long shadows. Some women are summoned to attend higher-ranked ladies. Others remain behind, waiting in their rooms. Waiting is part of their life. Waiting for instruction. Waiting for notice. Waiting for time to pass. The day does not end with celebration. It ends with quiet return. Women lie down in shared spaces, wrapped in simple coverings. The sound of the palace fades into distant steps and guarded doors. Sleep comes slowly to many. Thoughts remain awake. They think of tomorrow and the day after that. They think of the life they had and the life they now live. This is how a single day unfolds inside the Ottoman harem. It is not filled with constant drama or romance. It is filled with routine, training, and careful movement. It is a life shaped by walls, rank, and waiting. And as the night deepens, the palace holds its breath, preparing to repeat the same patterns when morning returns. As another morning rises over the palace, the inner world of the harem begins again with the same careful rhythm. The concubines wake to the sound of footsteps in the corridors and the distant call to prayer drifting through stone walls. Before any lesson or duty begins, there is washing and preparation. Water is brought in bowls. Hair is smoothed and tied. Clothing is chosen according to rank, never by personal wish. A woman's appearance must match her place in the order of the harem. Even the smallest detail, the fold of fabric or the way sleeves hang, reflects discipline. Supervision is constant, though not always visible. Senior attendants move quietly from room to room, noting who is awake, who is slow, and who looks unwell. Illness is dangerous inside the harem, not only for the body but for the future. A woman who cannot work or train may lose her position. Health becomes another duty. Women learn to hide weakness and to move even when tired. Strength is shown through silence rather than complaint. Lessons continue through the morning hours. Some women practice calligraphy, tracing careful lines on smooth paper. Others repeat verses of poetry or study music. These skills are not only for pleasure. They are meant to shape the mind as well as the body. A concubine is trained to be calm, graceful, and controlled. She is taught how to enter a room, how to sit, and how to lower her eyes. Each movement becomes part of a language that speaks respect without words. There is also instruction in palace rules. New arrivals learn what they must never do. They must never raise their voice. They must never touch certain doors. They must never speak directly to certain people unless invited. These rules are remembered through repetition. Mistakes are corrected quickly. A woman who forgets may be punished with extra work or loss of privilege. Through this, fear and habit grow together. As the sun climbs higher, the work of service begins. Some women are sent to prepare baths. Others arrange cushions and carpets in reception rooms. Everything must look perfect even when no guest is present. The palace is always ready. A concubine learns that her labor supports an image of endless order. The world outside may change, but inside these walls, calm must be shown at all times. During short moments of rest, women sit together in shaded courtyards. Here, quiet conversation may happen. They speak of their pasts in low voices. One remembers mountains, another remembers a river. These memories are shared like small treasures. They help the women feel human in a place that treats them as part of a system. Friendship becomes a form of survival. Yet even in friendship, caution remains. Rivalry is possible, and trust is never complete. From time to time, a messenger arrives from the inner palace. A name is called. The chosen woman rises and follows in silence. This moment is filled with fear and hope at once. Being summoned can mean promotion or danger. It can mean closer service or closer watch. Those who remain behind wait in stillness, listening to footsteps fade. The harem teaches patience more than any other lesson. In the later hours of the day, older women instruct the younger ones in household management. They explain how to prepare clothing for high-ranking ladies, how to serve food without spilling, and how to move through rooms without making sound. These tasks seem small, but they carry meaning. Skill brings safety. Carelessness brings attention. Attention can change a life in a single moment. As the sky darkens, lamps are lit along the corridors. The palace becomes a world of warm light and deep shadow. Evening prayers are observed. Afterward, some women are assigned to night duties. Others return to their rooms. There is no sudden freedom when the day ends. The same rules follow them into sleep. Doors are guarded. Movement is limited. The palace remains awake even when the women rest. In the quiet of night, thoughts grow heavy. A concubine lies beside others in a shared room, listening to breathing and distant guards. She wonders if tomorrow will be the same. She wonders if she will ever leave these walls. Her life is shaped by waiting, by learning, and by careful silence. She belongs to a world that values order above all else. So a single day in the Ottoman harem passes without drama or escape. It is built from lessons, service, and watchful calm. It is a life where the body is trained, the voice is softened, and the future is uncertain. And as the lamps dim and the palace settles into stillness, the cycle prepares to begin again with the next sunrise. As the pattern of days continues inside the palace, the life of a concubine becomes shaped by repetition. Each morning feels similar to the last, yet every day carries quiet uncertainty. No one inside the harem truly knows what her future will be. Rank can rise or fall without warning. A woman who serves in a small role today may be called to a higher duty tomorrow, and another who feels secure may suddenly be sent away. This uncertainty keeps the women careful in every action. The harem is also a place of learning about power. Even though concubines do not rule, they see how influence works through small signs. They notice which women receive better food, which are trusted with keys or messages, and which are allowed closer to the inner chambers. These differences teach them that power inside the palace is not always spoken. It is shown through access, movement, and silence. A woman who is trusted may walk further inside the palace. A woman who is not trusted stays near the outer rooms. During the middle hours of the day, the palace becomes very still. Sunlight falls across tiled floors, and birds can sometimes be heard in the courtyards. This calm is not a sign of peace. It is a sign of control. Everyone knows where to be and when to move. The concubines sit or work quietly, aware that even small noise can be noticed. Their lives are lived between walls that seem to listen. Some women are chosen to care for the clothing and jewels of higher-ranking ladies. This work requires steady hands and sharp eyes. Fabric must be folded correctly. Jewelry must be cleaned and stored in the right places. A mistake here is serious. These objects belong to power. Touching them is a form of trust. A concubine who performs this duty well may gain respect. One who fails may be removed from the task forever. There are also lessons in religion and proper conduct. Women are taught prayers and taught how to behave during holy times. Faith is part of palace life, just like service and training. A concubine is expected to show respect and calm during prayers, even if her heart is heavy. Religion offers structure in a place where personal choice is small. It gives meaning to days that might otherwise feel empty. At times the women hear distant sounds from the outer palace. The echo of footsteps, the call of guards, or the faint noise of the city beyond the walls. These sounds remind them that a larger world exists. A world of markets, streets, and families. For many, this world is only memory. They imagine it through stories shared in whispers. Some remember homes they left behind. Others were taken so young that they know only the palace as life. Jealousy and rivalry also live inside the harem, though they are rarely shown openly. When one woman is favored, others notice. When one is called forward, others feel the change in the air. Because open anger is forbidden, emotions are hidden behind politeness. Smiles are careful. Words are chosen slowly. A concubine learns that survival depends not only on skill, but on reading the feelings of others without speaking them aloud. As afternoon moves toward evening, preparations begin again. Water is carried for washing. Hair is arranged with ribbons or pins. Clothing is brushed and checked. The palace must look perfect at all times, even when no guest is present. Order is part of its identity. A concubine becomes part of this order, like a piece of furniture or a curtain that must always hang correctly. Some women are sent to serve in the inner rooms where higher-ranked women live. These rooms feel different. The air is quieter. The rules are stricter. Every step must be soft. Every gesture must be slow. Being allowed here can mean trust, but it also means being watched more closely. A woman who enters these spaces learns that closeness to power brings both safety and danger. When night comes, the harem grows dim except for the glow of oil lamps. Shadows stretch along walls decorated with patterns and tiles. The women return to their sleeping areas, often shared with many others. There is little privacy. Curtains divide spaces, but sound and breath are shared. In this closeness, loneliness can grow stronger. Surrounded by people, many still feel alone. Before sleep, some women whisper prayers. Others lie awake, thinking of the day that has passed. They think of what they did right and what they might have done wrong. Their lives are shaped by small details. A wrong word, a slow step, a careless look. These small things can change tomorrow. So another day in the life of an Ottoman harem concubine passes. It is not filled with excitement or romance. It is filled with training, waiting, and careful movement. It is a life built on routine and control, where the future is always uncertain and the present is ruled by rules. And as the palace settles into quiet again, The women prepare to rise once more when morning comes, to repeat the same lessons, the same duties, and the same silent watchfulness inside walls that keep the world away. As the days continue to pass inside the palace, the harem becomes not only a place of residence, but a place where identity is slowly reshaped. A concubine learns to think of herself not as a daughter of her homeland, but as a member of the palace household. Her old name may be replaced with a new one chosen by supervisors. This new name marks her place in the system. It separates her from the past and ties her to the future inside the walls. Through this change, the palace turns individuals into parts of a larger order. Education inside the harem is not limited to skills. It also teaches obedience. A concubine is trained to accept instruction without question. When an older woman speaks, the younger one listens. When a command is given, it is followed. This constant discipline shapes the mind as much as the body. Over time, many women stop expecting choice. They learn to wait for direction. In this way, control becomes internal as well as external. The harem also functions as a place of competition, though it is rarely open. Women know that attention from higher authority can change their lives. A single moment of notice can mean better food, softer clothing, or a safer role. Because of this, small actions matter. A well-sung song, a neatly sewn garment, or a graceful movement can be remembered. At the same time, drawing too much attention can be dangerous. A concubine must learn to be seen just enough and never too much. During the afternoon hours, when the palace grows warm and quiet, the women often work side by side. Some polish brass trays until they shine. Others prepare bath linens or fold robes. These tasks may seem simple, but they teach patience and precision. The palace depends on these quiet labors to maintain its image of calm order. A concubine's work is not celebrated, but it is always noticed when it is missing. There are moments when news travels through the harem like a slow wind. A woman has been promoted. Another has been sent away. A third has fallen ill. These events are discussed in whispers. They remind everyone that nothing is permanent. A high position today does not promise safety tomorrow. This knowledge keeps emotions guarded. Joy is held quietly. Fear is hidden behind still faces. Religious observance continues to shape the day. Prayer times divide work into sections. The women line up in order, guided by those of higher rank. Faith is one of the few shared experiences in a world divided by status. It offers a sense of rhythm and meaning. Yet even prayer is shaped by rank. Where one stands and how one moves reflects position in the hierarchy. Equality does not exist even in devotion. Some concubines are trained to serve directly in the chambers of powerful women of the palace. This service is demanding. A wrong word or slow response can be punished. These inner chambers feel heavier with importance. The air seems quieter. The rules feel stricter. A woman who works there learns to read faces and tones of voice. She learns when to step forward and when to vanish into the background. At the same time, the harem is also a place where time stretches. Days are long and similar. Without seasons of planting or travel, life is measured by routine alone. Morning lessons, afternoon work, evening quiet. This repetition can dull the mind. Some women mark time by small changes. A new scarf, a new song learned, a new duty assigned. These small signs become milestones in a life where major change is rare. Friendships inside the harem grow from shared hardship. Two women may sit together during rest hours and exchange memories of home. One may remember a seacoast, another, a mountain village. These stories create a world beyond the palace walls, even if only in words. Through them, the women remind each other that life once had different shapes, yet they also learn to be careful. Too much closeness can bring jealousy or suspicion. Trust must be chosen slowly. As evening approaches, the pace of the palace shifts again. Lamps are prepared, floors are swept, clothing is checked for neatness. The concubines prepare themselves for the final duties of the day. Some will serve meals to higher-ranked women. Others will remain in their quarters. No one chooses her role. It is assigned. In this way, even the end of the day belongs to the system. When night finally settles, the harem grows quiet except for the sound of guards in the corridors. The women lie down on simple bedding. Some speak softly to one another. Others turn their faces toward the wall and think of tomorrow. Their dreams are shaped by the same walls that shape their waking hours. Escape is rare, change is slow. Survival depends on calm behavior and careful movement. So another day passes inside the Ottoman harem. It is not a life of constant luxury. It is a life of training, watching, and waiting. A concubine's world is narrow, but it is deeply structured. Every hour has meaning. Every action has weight. And within this order, each woman learns how to exist without drawing danger to herself. The palace remains still under the night sky. Inside, the women sleep, knowing that when morning comes, the same rhythm will begin again. Washing, lessons, work, silence, waiting. A single day blends into many, and many days blend into a lifetime shaped by walls, rules, and the quiet endurance of those who live within them. As weeks turn into months inside the palace, the meaning of time changes for a concubine. Days are no longer counted by seasons or travel, but by routine and rank. The rising of the sun means lessons and duties. The setting of the sun means quiet rooms and guarded doors. Time becomes something that flows in circles rather than lines. A woman learns not to expect a different tomorrow. She learns to live inside the present moment, shaped by rules that do not change easily. The harem also teaches careful awareness of others. Every woman watches the movements of those above and below her. She learns who speaks kindly and who speaks sharply. She learns which faces carry favor and which carry warning. This watching is not curiosity alone. It is protection. To survive, a concubine must sense danger before it is spoken. A raised eyebrow, a long silence, a sudden change in duty. These signs matter more than words. Food and rest are given according to order. A woman of higher rank may receive better portions or softer bread. A woman of lower rank eats simply and quickly. No one complains. Complaining is seen as weakness. Hunger is hidden behind calm faces. Fatigue is hidden behind straight posture. The body becomes something that must obey the system as much as the mind. Sometimes a concubine is chosen to help teach newcomers. This role carries quiet honor. She explains how to walk, how to bow, how to keep the voice low. In teaching others, she repeats the lessons she once learned herself. In this way, the system continues through women's own hands. Authority is passed down step by step, not only from officials, but from older concubines to younger ones. There are moments when the women hear distant celebrations from the outer palace, drums, music, the sound of guests arriving. These sounds do not belong to them. They are reminders that the palace holds many worlds at once. One world is public and loud. Another is hidden and silent. The concubines live in the second world. They exist to support the first without being seen in it. During quiet hours, some women sew small personal items: a scarf, a ribbon, a piece of cloth folded in a certain way. These are not signs of rebellion. They are signs of memory. They allow a woman to feel that something belongs to her alone, even in a place where almost nothing does. These small objects carry meaning far greater than their size. Illness brings fear into the harem. A sick woman is watched closely. If she recovers, she returns to duty. If she grows weaker, she may be moved away from the inner rooms. Health is tied to usefulness. A body that cannot work has little place inside the palace. This knowledge teaches women to hide pain and to rise even when tired. Endurance becomes a skill learned alongside music and sewing. The older concubines speak of the future in careful terms. They say that some women will one day leave the palace. They may be married to officials or sent to other households. This is described as honor. Yet it also means leaving the only world many have known for years. Freedom, when it comes, does not always feel like joy. It feels like stepping into darkness after long time in light. The harem shapes not only life inside, but life after it. As evening returns, the rhythm of the day slows once more. Lamps glow along the walls. The women finish their final tasks. Floors are swept. Cloth is folded. Silence grows thicker in the corridors. Each woman returns to her sleeping place, aware that tomorrow will begin the same way. The cycle does not break easily. Lying in shared rooms, some women whisper stories of home. Others whisper prayers. Some remain silent, listening to the sound of guards outside the doors. Their thoughts travel far beyond the palace walls, yet their bodies remain inside them. This split between thought and place becomes part of their daily life. They learn to live in two worlds at once, one inside their mind, one inside the palace. So another full day passes in the life of an Ottoman harem concubine. It is a day shaped by order rather than choice, by training rather than freedom, by watching rather than wandering. The palace remains beautiful and distant, while inside it, women move quietly through patterns set long before they arrived. And as night deepens and the last lamps dim, the harem settles into stillness again. The women sleep, knowing that morning will return with the same lessons, the same duties, and the same careful silence that defines their world. As the routine of palace life continues, a concubine slowly learns that the harem is not only a place of women, but a place of politics. Even though she never enters council rooms or battle halls, her world is connected to decisions made far beyond her sight. When a powerful woman of the palace gains influence, the mood inside the harem changes. Certain faces appear more often in important rooms. Certain names are spoken with respect. Others fade quietly into the background. A concubine learns to notice these shifts because her own safety can depend on them. Training does not end after the first months, it continues for years. A woman is always being shaped. Her posture is corrected. Her speech is softened. Her expression is trained to remain calm. Even emotions are guided. Joy must not be loud. Anger must not be seen. Sadness must be hidden. The palace values smooth surfaces. Anything that breaks the image of peace is considered dangerous. In this way, the body becomes a tool of order, and the face becomes a mask of discipline. Some concubines are taught to care for younger girls newly brought into the harem. These new arrivals often cry quietly at night, missing their homes. Older women show them how to survive. They explain when to speak and when to stay silent. They show how to bow, how to walk, and how to keep the eyes low. This teaching is not kind or cruel. It is practical. It is meant to protect the young from mistakes that could shape their future. The harem also teaches patience through waiting. A woman may wait months or years without change in her position. Her life is measured in small moments rather than great events. A new task, a different room, a short word of praise. These small changes become signs of movement in a world where large change is rare. Hope is kept small so that disappointment will not be too heavy. At certain times, the women are gathered to hear instructions from senior attendants. These instructions may concern clothing, movement, or behavior. They may also concern silence about certain matters. Information inside the palace is controlled. A concubine learns what not to say as carefully as she learns what to say. Secrets are part of survival. What is seen must not always be spoken. What is heard must not always be remembered aloud. There are moments when tension passes through the harem without words. A woman has fallen from favor. Another has been promoted. No announcement is made, yet everyone feels it. Food portions change. Work assignments shift. Doors open for some and close for others. The palace teaches that power does not need to shout. It moves through quiet signs that only those inside learn to read. In the late afternoon, when light softens across the courtyards, some women are allowed brief moments of rest. They sit in shaded corners and sew or comb each other's hair. These moments are small, but they are precious. They allow a concubine to feel part of a human circle rather than only part of a system. Quiet laughter may appear, but it never grows loud. Even comfort must remain controlled. The evening brings renewed order. Lamps are lit carefully. Floors are checked. Water is carried for washing. Clothing is arranged again according to rank. Nothing is left to chance. A concubine learns that the palace never truly sleeps. Even when the women lie down, guards remain awake. Even when rooms are dark, rules remain present. Some nights, a woman dreams of leaving. She imagines walking through streets, hearing open voices, and choosing where to go. These dreams are never spoken. To speak of freedom inside the harem is dangerous. It can sound like disobedience. So freedom lives only in thought. The body remains still. The mind travels quietly. As months turn into years, the concubine's sense of self changes. She no longer thinks first of who she was before the palace. She thinks of who she is inside it. Her value is measured by calm behavior, careful work, and respect for rank. The palace becomes her world. The outside becomes a story. So another day completes its circle. Morning washing, midday lessons, afternoon service, evening silence, night rest. Each part blends into the next. There is no sharp ending and no clear beginning. Life inside the harem flows like a slow river inside stone banks, and as the palace grows quiet once more, the women settle into their places, carrying the weight of routine and the habit of patience. The story of their lives continues without noise, shaped by walls, by rules, and by the long practice of waiting in a world that rarely explains itself. As the pattern of life continues inside the palace, the concubine begins to understand that the harem is also a place where the future is quietly prepared. Young women are trained not only for service, but for possible new roles that may come without warning. Some may one day be chosen to leave the harem and enter marriage with officials of the court. Others may remain inside the palace for many years. Because no one knows which path will appear, every woman is shaped to be ready for change while never expecting it. Lessons during the day begin to include household management and careful manners suited to high society. Women are taught how to receive guests politely, how to pour water or serve food with steady hands, and how to sit in respectful silence when important people speak. These lessons are meant to prepare them for life beyond the inner rooms, even if that life never arrives. The harem teaches women how to belong to powerful spaces without being powerful themselves. The idea of reputation grows stronger as time passes. A concubine learns that her name, even if rarely spoken outside the palace, carries weight inside it. A small mistake can follow her for months. A kind word from a superior can lift her position. Reputation becomes like a shadow that moves with her through corridors and rooms. It cannot be seen, but it can be felt in how others treat her. During quiet moments, the women sometimes speak about what they imagine their lives might have been like outside the palace. One imagines marriage and children. Another imagines working in a market or walking freely in the streets. These thoughts are gentle and distant, like stories heard long ago. The harem becomes a world where the future is always imagined but rarely chosen. When visitors arrive at the outer parts of the palace, the inner harem grows more silent. Movement is limited. Voices are lowered. The presence of outsiders reminds the women how separated they are from the rest of society. They are close to power, yet far from ordinary life. This strange position shapes how they see themselves. They belong to the palace, but they do not belong to the world beyond its gates. The older concubines carry themselves with a special calm. They have learned that resistance brings pain, and that acceptance brings safety. Their faces show little emotion. They move slowly and speak rarely. Younger women watch them and learn what survival looks like over time. It is not escape. It is balance. It is knowing when to act and when to disappear into routine. As the day moves toward evening again, the air cools in the courtyards. Shadows stretch along stone paths. The women prepare once more for night duties or rest. The same patterns repeat, yet the women themselves change quietly inside them. A year inside the harem can make a girl into a woman shaped by rules rather than by choice. Some women begin to forget the details of their childhood homes. Faces blur. Voices fade. The palace becomes the main memory. This loss is not sudden. It happens slowly, through repetition and silence. The past becomes something that belongs to another person, not to the woman she has become. Even so, small acts of humanity remain. A shared piece of fruit, a whispered prayer, a gentle hand on another's shoulder. These moments remind the women that they are more than roles. They are still people living inside a system that does not ask who they were before. As lamps are lit once again and the sound of guards echoes through long corridors, the women return to their sleeping places. The palace settles into its night shape. Doors are watched. Paths are closed. The world outside grows distant once more. And so another day inside the Ottoman harem passes without announcement or record. It is a day of training, watching, and waiting. A day shaped by power that is felt but rarely seen. A day that becomes part of a long chain of similar days, forming a life that moves quietly beneath the surface of empire. The concubines sleep, knowing that morning will come with the same lessons and the same careful silence. Their lives continue in steady rhythm, held inside walls of stone and rules, moving forward without pause, one day at a time. As time flows on inside the palace, the concubine begins to sense that the harem is not only a place of training and service, but also a place where loyalty is carefully shaped. Every action is meant to show obedience. Every lesson is meant to remove old habits and replace them with palace ways. The women learn to respond to authority without hesitation. This does not happen in one day. It happens through years of repeated instruction and quiet correction, until obedience feels natural and resistance feels dangerous. The rules of movement remain strict. Certain corridors belong only to senior women. Certain courtyards are used only at certain hours. A concubine memorizes these patterns as one might memorize prayers. To walk the wrong path is not only a mistake, it can be seen as disrespect. Space itself becomes part of discipline. The palace teaches where a body may be and where it must never be. Work continues to shape the hours. Some women prepare linens and bedding for important chambers. Others clean tiles and polish metal trays until they reflect light. These tasks seem simple, yet they support the great image of order that the palace presents to the outside world. The concubine's labor is hidden, but without it, the palace could not appear calm and perfect. In this way, unseen work holds visible power. There are moments when a woman is chosen to be trained more closely for special service. She may be taught refined manners, graceful sitting, and careful speech. This training carries meaning. It suggests possible change in status, yet it also increases pressure. Every movement must be correct. Every word must be chosen. One mistake can undo years of quiet effort. Hope and fear grow together in such moments. Inside the harem, news does not travel openly. It moves through glances and small changes. A woman who once worked near the inner rooms may suddenly be placed elsewhere. Another may be given new duties without explanation. These shifts teach the concubines that nothing is fixed. Security is temporary. The palace teaches them to accept change without question. The idea of family changes inside these walls. Blood ties are replaced by rank ties. Older women become like distant mothers. Younger ones become like sisters bound by rule rather than by birth. These relationships are shaped by duty, not by choice. Care exists, but it is careful care, always aware of boundaries. Too much closeness can bring trouble. Too much distance can bring loneliness. As afternoon light fades, the palace grows quieter. The women prepare evening garments and set aside tools of work. Some are assigned to night service. Others are allowed to rest. No one knows far ahead what role she will have tomorrow. Each night closes one pattern and opens another. Life inside the harem is made of small endings and small beginnings. The concubines also learn to watch themselves. They learn how to hide emotion. Tears are not welcome. Laughter is limited. Anger must never be shown. The face becomes a calm surface over a busy mind. This control is praised as maturity. Over time, it becomes part of identity. A woman learns to appear peaceful even when her thoughts are restless. In the quiet of the evening, some women whisper about what they hope for. One hopes to leave the palace through marriage. Another hopes only to survive without punishment. A third hopes for nothing at all, because hope can be painful in a place where the future is uncertain. These hopes are spoken softly and forgotten quickly. Tomorrow may change everything. The palace lights glow against stone walls. The sound of the city outside is distant and faint. Inside, the women return to their sleeping places, arranged according to rank and duty. The day closes not with celebration, but with routine. Washing, folding cloth, lying down, waiting for morning. So the life of an Ottoman harem concubine continues in quiet order. It is shaped by discipline, by watching, and by waiting. It is a life lived close to power, but far from freedom. Each day teaches the same lessons again. Move carefully, speak softly, obey quickly. Remember little of the past and expect little of the future. And as the palace settles into darkness once more, the concubines sleep beneath its heavy walls, carrying their thoughts into dreams that wander beyond the gates, while their bodies remain inside the calm and controlled world of the harem. As the years pass inside the palace, the concubine's understanding of her place becomes deeper and more complex. She begins to see that the harem is not only a living space, but a carefully managed institution connected to the wider empire. Decisions made far beyond the harem walls shape the rhythm of her life. When new officials rise in power, the tone of the palace can change. When political marriages are arranged, certain women are suddenly trained for different futures. Though she never hears the full reason, she feels the results in her daily routine. Education inside the harem continues to evolve with time. Some women are taught more advanced reading and writing so they can assist in keeping records or copying messages. Others learn refined forms of music and poetry used in court ceremonies. These skills are not meant for public display. They are meant to serve the inner world of the palace. A concubine's knowledge becomes a quiet tool, useful only within the system that trained her. The rules of silence remain strong. Information is carefully limited. A woman may know what happens in her corridor, but not in the next one. This creates a world where understanding comes from observation rather than explanation. She learns to read signs, a change in food, a new guard at a door, a room suddenly closed. These small details become her language of power. Relationships inside the harem also grow more layered. Younger women look to older ones for guidance. Older women remember what it was like to arrive with fear and confusion. In this way, memory is passed down through daily behavior. Advice is given quietly. Warnings are spoken in half-phrases. The system continues through the women themselves, not only through official command. There are moments when the harem feels like a small city of its own. It has its own rules, its own hierarchy, and its own customs. Disputes are settled quietly by senior attendants. Rewards are given through better tasks or closer service. Punishment is often shown through distance rather than force. A woman may simply be removed from a favored position and placed somewhere less visible. Loss of place becomes a lesson in obedience. The presence of high-ranking women shapes the mood of entire sections of the harem. When one of them is pleased, her attendants live more easily. When she is troubled, tension spreads through her rooms. In this way, emotion flows downward through rank. A concubine learns that her comfort depends not only on her own actions, but on the state of those above her. As the afternoon light softens again, the work of the day continues. Floors are cleaned, fabrics are brushed, food is prepared for the evening. These tasks seem endless, but they create the appearance of calm order. The palace presents itself as a place without disorder, and the labor of many unseen women supports this image. Some women are chosen to help prepare ceremonial clothing or arrange rooms for special occasions. These moments bring rare excitement. The harem becomes busier. Voices are slightly louder. Movement is faster. Yet even in these moments, control remains. No one forgets her place. The palace may change its rhythm, but not its rules. In quiet moments, the concubine thinks about age. She notices how younger girls arrive and how older women move more slowly. Time inside the harem is marked by faces changing rather than by seasons. She wonders what her own future will look like. Will she be married away? Will she remain inside as an attendant? Will she leave the palace carrying only memory? These questions stay inside her, unanswered. The idea of freedom takes on a strange shape here. It is not imagined as open roads or distant lands. It is imagined as small choices, choosing when to sleep, choosing what to wear, choosing where to walk. These simple freedoms feel large because they do not exist inside the harem. Life is measured by what is allowed rather than by what is desired. As evening arrives once more, the palace shifts into its night order. Lamps glow along the walls. Guards take their positions. The women return to their rooms. Some prepare for night service. Others lie down quietly. The same cycle repeats, but the women inside it slowly change. So the story of a single day inside the Ottoman harem does not end with night. It continues through many days that look the same and feel different. Each day adds another layer of habit, another layer of memory. The concubine becomes shaped by routine until routine feels like nature. This is how life moves forward inside the palace. Not through great events, but through small repeated actions. Washing, learning, serving, waiting, watching. These actions form the shape of her world. A world close to power and far from choice. And as the palace grows quiet again, this history continues without stopping. The life of an Ottoman harem concubine flows onward, day after day, inside walls built for beauty and order, carrying human lives within them, unseen by the outside world, but deeply shaped by the rules that hold them in place. As life continues within the palace walls, the concubine begins to understand that the harem is also a place where futures are quietly decided without open words. No announcements are made. No explanations are given. Instead, change arrives through new duties, new rooms, or new faces placed nearby. A woman may suddenly find herself serving a higher-ranking lady, or she may be moved to a quieter section of the palace. These shifts are never described as reward or punishment, yet everyone knows they carry meaning. The harem teaches that destiny is shaped by small movements rather than loud events. With time, a concubine becomes skilled at reading the atmosphere around her. She senses when tension grows in certain corridors. She notices when guards change positions or when doors remain closed longer than usual. These signs are more important than spoken orders. They tell her when to be extra careful, when to remain silent, and when to step back from attention. Survival depends on this awareness. The palace does not warn. It simply changes. The older women of the harem carry a different kind of authority. They no longer train for possible favor. They maintain the rhythm of the place itself. They correct posture. They guide young hands in sewing and serving. They pass on rules that are not written, but remembered. Through them, the palace keeps its habits alive. In their calm voices and steady movements, the younger women see what long survival looks like. It is not rebellion. It is balance. Work continues to fill the hours. Some women prepare bedding and garments for important chambers. Others clean floors that will soon be walked upon again. The work never truly ends because order must always appear fresh. The palace is built to seem timeless, and the labor of the concubines protects this illusion. They learn that beauty is maintained through constant effort hidden behind walls. Even emotions are shaped by the system. Joy is quiet. Sadness is private. Fear is learned early and kept inside. A concubine may feel anger or longing, but she shows calm. Over time, this calm becomes natural. The face becomes a shield. The voice becomes soft. The body becomes trained to move without drawing notice. The palace teaches how to exist without leaving marks. Some women begin to take pride in their skill. A perfectly folded garment. A clean and shining tray. A song remembered without error. These small successes become personal victories in a world where large choices are not allowed. They create meaning where freedom is limited. They turn duty into identity. The sense of family continues to change. Mothers and fathers become distant memories. The harem becomes the main source of connection. Friendships replace blood ties. Rank replaces age. Authority replaces affection. These new relationships are not false, but they are shaped by rule. Care is careful. Trust is slow. Everyone knows that closeness can bring both comfort and danger. As the concubine grows older, she begins to imagine life beyond the palace not as a place of escape, but as a place of uncertainty. The world outside is unknown. Inside, everything is controlled. Outside, nothing is. This makes freedom feel both desired and feared. The harem becomes a cage that is also a shelter. It limits movement, but it also provides food, structure, and safety from chaos. The evening once again brings quiet order. Lamps glow against stone. Footsteps echo in long halls. The women return to their rooms. Some prepare for night duties. Others lie down and listen to the palace breathe around them. The sound of guards, the rustle of cloth, and the distant city blend into one soft noise of controlled life. In this world, the passing of time is not marked by years, but by change of role. A woman remembers her life not by age, but by what she once did and what she now does. She remembers when she was new. She remembers when she learned to stay silent. She remembers when fear became habit. So the day closes once more without celebration or announcement. It closes as it always does, through routine and rest. The story of the concubine does not end with one night. It continues through many nights that look the same and feel slowly different. Her life is built from repeated days, each one shaping the next, and as the palace settles into darkness again, the women sleep within its careful order. Their lives remain hidden behind walls of beauty and power, moving forward quietly through a history written not in battles or crowns, but in patience, discipline, and the long practice of waiting inside a world they did not choose yet must live within. As the rhythm of palace life carries on, the concubine slowly becomes part of the harem's memory itself. New girls arrive with fear in their eyes, and older women depart quietly into other roles or other households. Through this movement, the palace remains the same while its people change. The concubine learns that she is both replaceable and essential at the same time. The system depends on her work, yet it does not depend on her name. Training never truly ends. Even women who have served for many years continue to be corrected. A step can be too fast. A gesture can be too wide. A voice can be too strong. These small corrections remind everyone that perfection is the goal, even if it is never reached. The palace does not want strong personalities. It wants smooth behavior. Individual will is softened into habit. The structure of the harem also teaches lessons about loyalty. A concubine belongs first to the palace, then to those above her in rank. Personal desire is secondary to duty. When conflicts appear between women, they are settled quietly by senior attendants. There is no public argument, no loud defense. Silence itself becomes a form of law. To speak too much is to show weakness. To remain quiet is to show understanding. During long afternoons when the sun presses against the high walls, the women move more slowly. The air grows heavy with stillness. Some sit beside windows that do not open, watching light move across the floor. Others work with thread and cloth, their fingers repeating patterns learned by heart. In these moments, time feels wide and empty, yet it is also full of watching. A concubine never forgets that she is seen even when no one seems to be looking. News of the outside world comes in small pieces. A servant mentions a celebration in the city. A guard speaks of a new official arriving at court. These bits of information travel through the harem like faint echoes. They remind the women that the empire is alive beyond the walls. Yet the concubines experience it only as sound and story, not as movement. Some women begin to imagine themselves as part of the palace rather than part of the world. They take pride in its order and beauty. They speak of its rooms as if they belong to them. This feeling grows slowly and quietly. It is not love of captivity. It is adaptation. The mind reshapes itself to survive where the body cannot leave. The harem also carries fear of sudden change. A powerful woman may lose favor. A new ruler may alter customs. A concubine may be moved without warning. These possibilities are always present. Because of this, the women keep their emotions close. Excitement is dangerous. Attachment is risky. Stability is found in obedience rather than in hope. As evening approaches once more, the palace moves into its familiar night pattern. Lamps are filled, floors are swept again, curtains are drawn. The same actions happen in the same order, as if time itself is being folded and unfolded each day. The concubine follows these movements without thought. Her body knows them better than her mind. When darkness fills the halls, the women return to their sleeping places. Some share quiet words. Others lie still, listening to distant footsteps. Dreams often carry images of places they have never seen or barely remember. Fields, rivers, markets, faces without rank. These dreams are not plans. They are shadows of another life. So the story of the concubine continues without a clear ending. It is not a tale of escape or triumph. It is a tale of long endurance, of learning how to live inside a system that asks for silence and offers routine in return. Her days are not marked by great events. but by careful repetition, and as this history flows onward, it does not stop at one night or one role. It stretches across years and across many women whose names are forgotten. What remains is the pattern of their lives. Washing at dawn, training at midday, service in the afternoon, quiet at night, a circle of time that holds them inside walls of marble and rule. As more years pass within the palace, the concubine begins to understand that the harem is not only a place of routine, but also a place where memory is slowly replaced by habit. The early shock of arrival fades. Fear becomes quieter. Confusion turns into knowledge of rules. What once felt strange becomes ordinary. The sound of guarded doors, the echo of footsteps in long corridors, and the soft commands of senior women become the background of daily life. The palace trains the mind to accept what the body cannot change. The young girls who arrive now look at the older women with the same fear that once lived in her own eyes. She recognizes herself in them. She remembers the first days of learning how to walk properly, how to bow, how to keep her voice low. Now she is the one who corrects small mistakes. She shows them how to fold cloth, how to sit still during lessons, and how to avoid attention. In this way, the harem teaches itself. The system does not need to explain. It is passed from woman to woman like a quiet tradition. Work remains steady and constant. Some days she polishes trays and bowls until they shine. Other days she prepares bedding or cleans tiled floors that will soon be walked on again. The work does not bring praise. It brings invisibility. To do one's task well is to be unnoticed. This becomes a kind of success. The concubine learns that safety lives in smooth routine rather than in special moments. The idea of choice becomes smaller over time. At first, she wondered about the future. Now she thinks mostly about the next task. Will she be sent to the baths? Will she carry water? Will she serve food? Her world shrinks to the size of each duty. This shrinking is not sudden. It happens slowly until large questions feel heavy and small questions feel real. Inside the harem, emotions are managed like objects. Joy is allowed only in quiet forms. Sadness must be hidden. Anger must never be shown. Even surprise is controlled. The face becomes calm because it must be. Over time, calm becomes natural. The palace does not need to force silence. Silence grows inside the women themselves. There are moments when the concubine hears distant celebrations from the outer palace. Music drifts faintly through stone walls. Laughter echoes far away. These sounds belong to another world, one that touches the harem only as an echo. The women listen without moving. They know these events will not change their tasks. They remind them only that life continues beyond the walls. Some women leave the harem through marriage or assignment to other households. Their departure is quiet. No ceremony is held. A room becomes empty. A place at work is filled by another. The system does not pause. Yet for those who remain, each departure is a reminder that the palace can release as easily as it can hold. Freedom, when it comes, is sudden and uncertain. The older women speak of life after the harem in careful tones. They say it is different, but not always easier. Outside, a woman must make choices again. Inside, choices are made for her. This makes freedom feel both hopeful and frightening. The concubine begins to understand that the palace has shaped her more deeply than she first believed. Even her dreams are quiet now. As afternoon light stretches across the courtyards, the work continues. Cloth is folded, water is carried, rooms are arranged. These actions seem small, yet they hold the day together. The palace looks peaceful because of countless careful movements. The concubine becomes one of those movements, part of a pattern larger than herself. When evening returns, the same order appears once more. Lamps are lit. Voices soften. Guards take their places. The women return to their sleeping rooms. Some whisper prayers. Others lie still, listening to the building breathe around them. The palace never feels empty. It feels full of rules even in the dark. So another day passes without being marked by calendar or bell. It passes as part of a long line of similar days. The concubine's life is no longer measured by age or seasons, but by how long she has served and what duties she now holds. Her story blends into the stories of many women before her and many after her. And as this history continues to flow forward without pause, the harem remains what it has always been. A place of order, waiting, and quiet endurance. A place where time moves slowly, and lives are shaped not by great events, but by repeated days lived under the same walls and the same rules. As the cycle of days stretches into years, the concubine begins to experience time in a different way. Inside the palace, nothing rushes, and nothing truly stops. Morning comes with the same soft sounds of movement in the corridors. The scent of water and cloth returns. The same lessons begin again, and yet the woman who lives them is never quite the same as before. The palace shapes her slowly, like water shaping stone. It does not strike or shout, it repeats. By now she knows every pattern of the halls near her quarters. She knows which corners catch the light in the afternoon, and which walls stay cool even in summer. These small details become her map of the world. Outside, there are cities and seas, but inside, her geography is made of tiles, curtains, and doorways guarded by custom. Space becomes memory. Memory becomes routine. The younger women now look to her for guidance. She sees fear in their careful steps and confusion in their lowered eyes. She remembers when she first arrived, how every sound felt too loud and every rule too heavy. Now she speaks to them in the same calm tone that once guided her. She teaches them how to move quietly, how to hold a tray without trembling, and how to listen more than they speak. Her voice is not unkind. It is practical. She knows that mistakes can cost safety, and safety is the closest thing to freedom they know. Work continues to fill the hours, but it also changes in small ways. She may be trusted with tasks that require steadier hands and sharper judgment. She might be asked to organize fabrics, count linens, or prepare rooms for higher-ranked women. These duties bring no applause, but they bring stability. Stability inside the harem is a kind of reward. It means fewer surprises. It means being allowed to remain where one is. The palace itself feels alive with quiet motion. Servants pass through outer corridors. Guards change places. Messages travel between rooms in sealed words and folded cloth. The concubine feels these movements without hearing their meaning. Like wind behind a wall, power moves nearby but never fully enters her world. She learns to live beside it without touching it. There are afternoons when the light grows golden and the courtyard seems almost peaceful. Birds pass over the walls. A breeze moves curtains gently. In these moments, the palace feels less like a cage and more like a still lake. The women sit with their work, fingers moving through thread and cloth, and time seems to slow. Yet even in this calm, rules remain present. No one forgets posture. No one forgets silence. Inside the harem, respect is shown through distance. A concubine does not walk too close to those above her. She does not speak unless asked. These habits become natural. She no longer thinks of them as rules. They feel like part of breathing. This is how the palace lasts. It teaches the body until the mind follows. Sometimes she hears that a woman has left the harem to join a household outside the palace. The news spreads quietly. A name is spoken once and then not again. The room she used becomes another space of work. Her absence becomes part of the building. The concubine wonders what life is like for those who leave. She imagines streets, markets, and voices without permission. Yet she also imagines the fear of making choices after so many years without them. Freedom feels wide and uncertain, like stepping into a place without walls. Food arrives in steady rhythm. Bowls are placed and removed with quiet care. Portions reflect rank. The concubine eats what is given and does not ask for more. Hunger and fullness are learned like any other lesson. The body adapts. It learns to wait and to accept. In the evenings, when lamps begin to glow along the walls, the palace takes on a different feeling. Shadows grow long and the air cools. The women prepare for night duties or for rest. Hair is smoothed. Cloth is folded. Floors are swept again. Order is renewed each night so that morning can begin without sign of yesterday's movement. The concubine notices that her thoughts have changed over time. In the beginning, she thought of escape and loss. Now she thinks of tasks and small patterns. Her dreams are quieter. They do not carry loud images of her past. They carry pieces of the present, courtyards, lamps, long halls. The palace has entered her sleep as it has entered her waking life. Older women sometimes speak of the harem as a river. It takes women in and carries them forward. Some step out onto other shores. Others remain until their hair turns gray. The river itself does not change. It continues to flow in the same direction. This idea feels true to her. She sees faces come and go. She remains shaped by the current. There are moments when she feels pride in knowing the system so well. She knows when to move and when to wait. She knows which hours bring work and which bring stillness. This knowledge gives her a sense of place. Even in a world without choice, knowing the rules becomes a form of strength. Yet there are also moments of quiet sadness. When she watches a new girl arrive with fear in her eyes, she remembers the life she once had. She cannot return to it, but she can see it reflected in others. This memory does not break her. It rests inside her like a folded cloth kept for no one to see. As night deepens, the palace settles into its guarded calm. The sound of footsteps fades. The last lamps dim. The concubine lies down in her shared space, aware of other breathing bodies near her. She feels the weight of the walls and the safety they bring. The world outside is distant. The world inside is known. So the day closes not with drama, but with habit, the same way it has closed many times before. The life of an Ottoman harem concubine is not one of sudden stories. It is one of long movement, of learning how to live inside limits, of becoming part of a pattern larger than oneself. And as this history continues forward without pause, the palace remains a place of beauty and control, of silence and order. The women inside it carry its rhythm in their steps and its rules in their voices. Their lives move quietly beneath the surface of empire, shaped by days that look the same and yet slowly shape who they become. As the long rhythm of palace life continues, the concubine begins to notice how deeply the harem shapes not only actions, but thought itself. What once felt like rules now feels like nature. She wakes when others wake. She moves when others move. The sound of footsteps in the corridor has become her morning signal. The scent of water and cloth has become the smell of beginning. The palace teaches without speaking. It teaches through repetition. Over time, she learns that the harem is not only a place of women, but a place of quiet management. Every task has a purpose, even if she never hears it explained. When rooms are cleaned, it is not only for comfort, but for order. When clothing is folded, it is not only for neatness, but for rank. When food is served, it is not only for hunger, but for structure. The palace arranges life into patterns that can be controlled. The younger women now treat her as someone who belongs fully to this world. They watch how she walks and how she lowers her eyes. They copy the way she holds a tray and the way she speaks when spoken to. Without realizing it, she has become part of the lesson itself. The system no longer needs to train her loudly. It uses her as an example. Work fills most of the day, but the feeling of work has changed. At first, each task felt heavy and strange. Now the body performs them almost on its own. Hands know how to fold. Feet know where to step. The mind drifts while the body obeys. In this way, labor becomes quiet and endless, like water moving over stone. Inside the harem, the idea of beauty is also shaped by rule. Beauty is not wild or bright. It is controlled. Hair is arranged carefully. Clothing is chosen to fit rank, not desire. A woman's face must show calm, not excitement. The concubine learns that beauty here means harmony, not expression. To look balanced is more important than to look unique. There are moments when she hears about celebrations or great events in the outer palace. Weddings, births, ceremonies. These events are spoken of in low voices and only in pieces. They do not change her routine. They change only the tone of the rooms nearby. More cleaning, more preparation, more silence. The great moments of empire reach her only as extra work and tighter rules. As the seasons change outside, the palace remains mostly the same. Heat and cold are felt, but life does not shift with harvest or travel. Curtains are adjusted. Water is brought more often in summer. Lamps burn longer in winter. But the pattern of the day remains fixed. This makes time feel strange. Years pass without the feeling of journey. The concubine also begins to understand that memory is something the palace slowly reshapes. At first, she remembered her childhood clearly. Faces, voices, streets. Now those images grow softer. The palace world feels stronger than the world before it. Her past becomes a story rather than a place. This change does not come from force. It comes from living every day inside the same walls. Older women sometimes speak of the harem as a school of patience. They say that it teaches how to wait without moving and how to listen without asking. The concubine understands this now. Waiting is part of every hour. Waiting for instruction. Waiting for movement. Waiting for rest. Waiting becomes the shape of time itself. There are also lessons in watching others. She learns which women rise in rank and which fade into background work. She notices that those who remain calm and quiet last longer. Those who show strong emotion often disappear from favored places. From this, she learns what kind of person the palace rewards. Not the loud, not the proud, but the steady and invisible. In rare moments, she is allowed to walk through a different part of the palace to deliver something or assist another woman. These journeys feel like travel, even though they remain inside walls. New corridors appear, new courtyards with different light. Yet even here, rules guide every step. She walks with eyes lowered and voice silent. Even movement is shaped by rank. Food remains simple and regular. The taste becomes familiar. Eating is not an event. It is a pause in work. Hunger and fullness are quiet experiences. The body adapts to what it is given. Desire for more is not spoken. Desire itself becomes smaller over time. As evening returns again, the palace shifts into its night form. Lamps glow softly. The air cools. Tasks slow. The concubine prepares bedding and arranges cloth for the next day. These small actions feel like closing a book only to open the same page tomorrow. At night, when she lies down among others, she listens to the sound of breathing and distant guards. The palace feels like a living thing around her. It holds her inside its order. Her thoughts wander sometimes, but they always return to the next day's pattern. Wake, wash, work, wait, sleep. The longer she stays, the more she understands that her life is not meant to be remembered by name. It is meant to support something larger. The beauty of rooms, the smooth running of the court, the quiet power of order. Her days are like threads woven into a cloth that others will see, but never examine closely. So the life of an Ottoman harem concubine continues without a clear line between one day and the next. Each morning looks like the last. Each evening closes the same way. And inside this repetition, a human life moves forward quietly, shaped not by great choices, but by steady obedience and long habit. And the palace does not ask who she was. It teaches who she must be. And she learns slowly and deeply to become part of the rhythm of walls, rules, and waiting that define her world. As the quiet order of the palace continues, the concubine begins to feel that her life is no longer marked by special days at all. There are no clear beginnings and no true endings. Instead, there is a long stream of mornings and evenings that fold into each other. The sound of sandals on stone floors becomes her clock. The opening of curtains becomes her sunrise. The lighting of lamps becomes her sunset. The palace itself teaches her what time means. By now she understands the harem not only as a place of rules, but as a place of careful balance. Every woman inside it has a role that keeps the whole structure steady. If one moves too fast or too freely, the balance is disturbed. So she learns to move like water inside a bowl, always fitting the shape around her, never pushing against the edge. This way of living does not feel like a lesson anymore. It feels like nature. The younger girls still arrive from distant lands. They come with wide eyes and trembling hands. They do not yet know the language of the palace. They do not yet know how to hold their voices low or their shoulders straight. The concubine sees herself in them and feels a strange mix of memory and distance. She guides them without emotion, not because she is unkind, but because kindness here must be quiet. She teaches them how to stand during instruction, how to carry water without spilling, how to bow without being noticed. These small lessons decide whether a girl will live safely or struggle inside the walls. The work of the day remains endless. Floors are wiped clean though they were cleaned the day before. Cloth is folded though it will be unfolded again tomorrow. Bowls are washed though they will soon be used again. The palace does not want rest. It wants perfection that never fades. Through this, the concubine learns that her effort is not meant to finish anything. It is meant to preserve a feeling of calm order that hides the movement underneath. She notices how silence works like a law. It keeps anger small. It keeps fear hidden. It keeps questions unspoken. When something troubling happens, it is not discussed openly. Instead, tasks change. A woman is moved. A door is closed. A room becomes quiet. These changes speak more clearly than words. The concubine understands them without explanation. The palace teaches through absence as much as through command. There are moments when she is sent to rooms closer to the inner chambers. These places feel heavier with meaning. The walls seem thicker. The light is softer. Voices are even more careful. Serving in these spaces means greater trust, but also greater risk. One careless movement can be noticed. One slow response can be remembered. So she becomes even smaller in her actions. She walks as if she is part of the floor. She speaks as if her voice belongs to the air rather than to herself. The idea of beauty inside the harem continues to be shaped by rule. A beautiful woman is one who fits into the system without friction. Her hair is neat. Her clothing is clean. Her face shows calm. Expression is not admired. Balance is. The concubine understands now that beauty here is not about standing out. It is about blending in. Sometimes she hears stories of the outer world, of markets filled with noise, of families arguing and laughing openly, of people choosing when to walk and where to go. These stories feel distant, like tales of another age. She listens without comment. Her body no longer remembers what it feels like to walk without permission. Even her dreams follow palace patterns. She dreams of corridors rather than fields, of lamps rather than stars. As the years pass, she begins to feel that the harem is not only a place of captivity, but also a place of deep habit. The rules no longer feel heavy because they are known. The fear is no longer sharp because it is familiar. In this way, the palace reshapes suffering into routine. Pain becomes quiet. Loss becomes normal. Endurance becomes a form of success. The afternoon light again moves across the courtyard stones. The women sit and work with thread and cloth. Their hands move together like a single motion repeated many times. No one rushes. No one stops. The palace holds them inside this rhythm like a long breath. She notices how older women walk more slowly now. Their backs bend slightly. Their steps grow careful. Yet they are still part of the system. They still guide the younger ones. They still keep the order alive. The palace does not forget them, but it does not praise them either. It simply uses what remains of their strength. Food arrives. Water is poured. The body continues its cycle. Hunger comes and goes quietly. Tiredness settles into the bones. Rest comes only when it is allowed. In this way, even the body's needs are shaped by rank and schedule. When evening comes, the lamps glow once more along the halls. Shadows grow long and soft. The concubine finishes her last tasks and returns to her sleeping place. She folds her cloth neatly. She lowers herself beside others, who breathe the same slow rhythm. The sound of guards moving outside the doors reminds her that even sleep belongs to the palace. She does not dream of escape anymore. She dreams of stillness, a day without correction, a moment without watching, a breath without fear. These dreams are small, but they are hers. So the life of an Ottoman harem concubine continues without change in shape, but with slow change inside. The world outside grows older. The empire shifts. Rulers come and go. But inside these walls the rhythm remains. Wake, wash, work, wait, sleep. And as this history continues forward without pause, the concubine remains part of a long chain of women who lived in the same way. Their names fade, their faces are forgotten, but their days remain written in the habits of the palace itself. A life made not of great events, but of quiet endurance inside walls built for beauty and control. As this long journey through the palace finally comes to rest, the meaning of a single day inside the harem becomes clearer. It was never about one morning or one evening. It was about a life made from thousands of similar days, joined together so closely that they felt like one long moment. The concubine's world was shaped by walls, rules, and careful silence, but within that narrow space, she learned how to exist, how to wait, and how to endure. Her life was not written in public records or spoken in royal speeches. It was written in folded cloth, in quiet footsteps, and in the way she lowered her eyes when someone of higher rank passed by. Each task she performed helped keep the palace running smoothly, even though her name would never be remembered. The beauty of rooms, the calm of corridors, and the smooth order of the court depended on the unseen work of women like her. What made this life so powerful was not luxury but routine. The palace trained the body to obey and the mind to accept. Over time, fear became habit, and habit became identity. A concubine did not wake each day asking who she was. She woke knowing what she must do. In this way, her life was shaped less by choice and more by rhythm. Yet inside this strict order, she remained human. She remembered fragments of home. She formed quiet friendships. She whispered prayers at night. She dreamed of places without walls. These small thoughts did not change her world, but they kept her sense of self alive inside it. Even when everything around her was controlled, her inner life still moved freely. The story of an Ottoman harem concubine is not a story of drama or romance. It is a story of structure, patience, and survival. It shows how a powerful empire was supported not only by soldiers and rulers, but by women who lived in silence and order, carrying the weight of routine on their daily lives. And now, as this history gently closes, we leave the palace halls behind. The lamps grow dim. The corridors fall quiet. The sound of footsteps fades into memory. What remains is the understanding that behind the beauty of empire were lives shaped by discipline and waiting, moving forward one calm day at a time. If you enjoyed this slow and peaceful walk through hidden history, remember to like the video and subscribe for more long and gentle stories from the past. Your support helps these quiet lives be remembered, one soft chapter at a time.